Welcome back to La Paz Bound. So in this video, I'm going to talk about our economic plan and our timeline when we move from Tampa, Florida to La Paz, Mexico. So let me address the elephant in the room. I am not old enough to retire yet. I will be 53 in January, so very shortly. My husband is old enough to retire. He is 62. He turned 62 a couple months ago. We are both still working. He has not drawn from his 401k or Social Security just yet, but that is a possibility. Could I touch my 401k? Technically, yes. There are ways I could touch on it. I could go ahead and take a 401k loan. That has tax implications that could hurt me. It has penalties that I would have to pay if I didn't pay it back. If I left the company early and didn't pay back that loan, then we're looking at a distribution, and that is something I'd have to report on my income taxes. So yes, I could touch it with a 401k loan, but I think I could only touch about 50% of it. I believe that's the rules of the company that I am with. And then there's also the rule of 55, but our plan and our timeline is not really conducive to that, and it doesn't really align. So what is the plan? So the plan is that my husband, like I said, has 401k, Social Security. I have 401k as well. We have also lived in our house for 11 years, and we have built up equity in our house. So between the three of those things, my husband's being able to draw on Social Security, his 401k account balance, and the equity in our house, because we do plan to sell our house before we move to Mexico. Between those three things, we should be okay to live off of that until I turn 59 and a half and 62, and I can start drawing on my 401k and Social Security. We could actually live beyond that with my husband's 401k, Social Security, and the house equity. So speaking about the equity in our house, so back in 2020, we did a refi. We did a refi so that we could lower our interest rate. And one of the common things that people do when they do a refi is they use the money, they take out money from that refi to do home improvements, remodeling, things like that. We didn't do that. And sometimes what people do is they reset their loan back to the original loan term of 30 years. We didn't do that either. We simply did our refi so that we could lower our interest rate, but we kept our term the same. So we only have a certain amount of time left on our mortgage. And I'm glad that we did it that way. No, we don't have the latest and best kitchen. There are things in our house that still need to be repaired. We don't have updated bathrooms, but our house is comfortable. It's something we've lived in for a long time, and we're very comfortable in it. So I'm very glad that we did not go the route that a lot of people do in setting their mortgage back to the original term of 30 years and going for a brand new kitchen and remodeling their house. I'm glad that we didn't do that in 2020 when we refinanced the house. So we're going to take a staggered approach. We are first going to live off of my husband's funds. So we're going to live off of his Social Security, his 401k, and the house equity. We're going to do that for approximately 5 to 6 years, and it will last longer than that until I'm 59 and a half and I can start withdrawing funds from my 401k. And hopefully during that time period, that 5 to 6 years, I'm still building up my profile and I will have more funds available when it is time to start drawing on it. And then when I turn 62, I'll take Social Security. So when I'm 62, my husband's 72, we'll both have our Social Security. We will both have 401k. Hopefully we'll still have some equity in the house. And that's how we're going to do our staggered approach when we move to Mexico. We're also going to live below our means. We are trying to move to a country such as Mexico where we can live below our means. We can get health care that is more affordable than the United States. And hopefully we will be able to either rent or own a house that is also cheaper than what we're paying for our mortgage here. So let's talk about our timeline. When do we plan to move from Tampa, Florida to La Paz, Mexico? Well, there's a lot of factors in play here, and that could change over the next year. So our plan is to move either at the end of 2025 or maybe Q1 2026. So we each have appointments next month. We're very excited about this, and I'm going to take you along with us, and I'll try to film as much as I can. So we are going to Orlando next month. We have appointments. We each have an appointment with the Mexican consulate. And we are going to use our 401k account balances to prove our economic solvency. Why are we waiting so long to move? Why are we taking a year or even more than that to move? Well, we have other things to consider as well. Our house is 2,500 square feet, and we haven't really done any kind of clearing out and downsizing yet. And that is something that's going to take some time. My plan is to try and get us to consolidate down to one room, and then we're probably going to have to edit that down as well. We're still trying to decide whether we want to sell almost everything and put everything into our car and drive that way, or do we want to go ahead and get an international moving service? We're not sure yet. So we need that time to figure out what we're going to do with the house and the contents in it and trying to get things into Mexico. We have a lot of things that are sentimental to us. We have artwork that we love. My husband has guitars, and so he's going to have to pick and choose which ones he loves. I am a lover of handbags and shoes, and it's going to be hard to part with some of those things, so I'm going to have to edit that down as well. I have been selling some things off and giving them over to the consignment store to sell, but that's going to be something that we have to consider as well. So there's just things that we're going to need to go through in our house in order to edit everything down and start selling things off. And we don't want to do this at the end. We don't want to have like a fire sale where we have to, just basically give things away. So we're going to try to take the next year to just go room by room and start selling things on Facebook Marketplace or eBay. The house needs repairs before we can put it on the market. So our pool needs to be repaired. It needs to be refinished. We've got flooring in the upstairs. Some of it is done, some of it isn't. So we need to put down some new subfloor, and we already have the flooring. We just need somebody to put it down for us. Our knees aren't what they used to be when we first moved into this house. So I think we're going to have to hire someone to help us do that. So there are some things, and some small things as well that we need to take care of, we need to address before we put the house on the market. This next one is pretty big, and this is credit card debt. Each of us is paying on our credit cards. My husband has a small balance that he'll be able to pay off. I have a larger balance that I have to pay off over the course of 2025. It is doable. It's going to be hard, but it is doable, and it's necessary. I don't remember a time in my adult life where I have not been in credit card debt. It is something that I'm not proud of. It is something that is very hard for me to try and do and pay off this quickly, but it is doable and it is necessary, and I'm going to do it. And if you're interested in that journey and you want to know more about that, I will share as much as I can with you about that. But that is a journey that I'm going to be taking in 2025. I've already paid about 20,000 of it off, and I have a substantial amount to go. But it is doable, and I'm going to do it. Another thing is my car. I've talked about this in other videos, but we do need to find a suitable vehicle that could handle the terrain, that can handle the potholes, that can be fixed in Mexico as well. Right now, I currently drive a Mercedes. Part of the credit card debt, part of that luxury lifestyle that I seek, but don't really have the funds for. So we're going to go ahead and trade in my car or sell it and get something that is more practical, something we can pay cash for, and something that is durable. We need to go to Mexico. Bottom line is we need to go. We've never been. We're going to be moving somewhere that we've never been. So after we get our visas, the plan is to go around the March timeframe. So we want to go ahead and go visit. We want to meet with a facilitator. We want to tour different neighborhoods. We kind of want to rent a car and go around the surrounding area of Baja California Sur. We just want to go ahead and see and do some more research while we're there. It's very hard to talk about things about Mexico when you've never been and you're planning a big move there. So that is something we want to do, and something that we have to do when we get our visas is we have to go. I believe we have 180 days in which we have to go to Mexico and actually turn our stamp in our passport book with our visa to a permanent visa card. Not permanent, but a temporary visa card. So that's something we need to do, and it's something we're looking forward to as well. So we're looking about March timeframe, and I suspect I will be doing a lot of vlogging. So I hope you come along for that journey as well. So the last thing that we have to consider, and it's why we are, moving our timeline to either end of next year, or the beginning of 2026, is we have to plan for that drive. We've got 4 cats and a dog. So we have to make sure that we have everything in place and that we have the routes in place. We have the Airbnb set up, the hotel set up that take pets. We have to plan this drive. My husband and I have done a longer trip and a longer drive when we moved to Connecticut in 2008 and then moved back in 2012. It's expensive. It takes time. This one's going to take a lot of time because not only are we going across the country to California from Florida, then we're going down into Baja California. And that's another trip in and of itself. So we have to plan this very carefully. It's a cross-country move, but also an international move. So these are all of the reasons of why we need to take our time. We need to take the next year. We need to do more research. We have to prepare, and we want to do this right. We don't want to rush into anything. We want to take our time. We want to make sure that we have the funds available. We want to make sure our debts are paid off. We want to make sure that we have done the research to get the pets into the country. We want to make sure that we do the research to drive across the country and down into Mexico. All of these things take time, and that's why our timeline is looking like end of next year or beginning of 2026. So thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this content. Please like and subscribe, and I hope to bring you more content in the future.